This week's episode is sponsored by Patreon supporter Matt Frank. Matt's an artist who's worked on multiple official Transformers comics, and he wanted to see the basic spotlight shone on a team of characters that he created. So get ready to meet the RAPTORICONS. The RAPTORICONS were a team of 4 female Transformers created by Matt Frank for the Transformers Collectors Club, who, as you might have figured out from the name, all transformed into dinosaurs from the raptor family. The idea for the group came about in 2015, when Frank was commissioned by fan Jenna Long to design a Transformer based on Blue, the lead velociraptor from the movie Jurassic World. Collectors Club organizer Pete Sinclair happened to see the art Frank created and liked it so much he thought it should be turned into an official character, leading to Frank being brought on to design a team of 4 new bots for the club. The team consisted of Slice, a dark armoured sniper at home in the shadows, easily annoyed and not given to trusting others. Excitable and energetic Shred, an optimistic motor-mouthed young tech specialist. The primitive but incredibly powerful Nash, whose misshapen body surged with unstable energy, and whose damaged logic processors made her more beast than bot, prone to uncontrollable animalistic rages. And their leader, Thrashclaw, or Thrash for short, a noble, courageous warrior for whom command came naturally, despite her laid-back attitude to it, tending to make up strategy as she went along. Each of the 4 transformed into a different kind of raptor, with Frank intending them to represent the various different ways dinosaurs have been depicted in media over the years. Nash transformed into a scaly velociraptor based on the famous but heavily fictionalized version of the animals invented for the Jurassic Park films. Conversely, Shred transformed into a small, fluffy, feathered velociraptor, based on the current scientific understanding of what raptors really looked like. Thrashclaw and Slice were both somewhere in the middle. Thrash was a cool-looking compromise that merged scales and feathers, while Slice was a Utahraptor designed, to quote Frank, to show how you can make feathered raptors intimidating and cool. The RAPTORICONS were introduced in the prose story Life Finds a Way, written and illustrated by Frank and released online by the club in April 2016, supplemented by character profiles for Thrashclaw and Nash published in the club magazine a few months later. The story was part of the club's Of Masters and Mayhem series, promoting an upcoming line of club-exclusive toys. Frank's story showcased the Predacon geochemist Fractal. A huge fan of 1996's Beast Wars cartoon, Frank mistakenly wrote the story as being set in that universe, then had to rewrite it when it was explained to him that the series was meant to take place in an alternate universe, one where most of the Transformer race had been wiped out by the apocalyptically powerful Decepticon combiner, Thunder Mayhem. The story detailed the RAPTORICON's origins, explaining that Thrashclaw and Slice had been a pair of famous Decepticon mercenaries, whose services were highly sought after by the criminal element of Cybertron, while Shred had been an Autobot who, bored with her job, had learned of Thrash and Slice's exploits while listening in on Decepticon communications frequencies, and had sought the pair out and begged to join them. Together, the trio took a job from a criminal syndicate on Cybertron to hunt down a peculiar, powerful energy signal emanating from the jungle planet Chixulania. There, they discovered the ruins of a long-vanished alien civilization that had once used Chixulania as a nature preserve, transporting and housing creatures from all over the galaxy, including a sampling of Earth's dinosaurs, which now roamed freely across the abandoned world. Within the remains of a laboratory, Thrash, Slice and Shred found the source of the signal they were tracking, a stasis pod containing the malformed Nash, who immediately took a liking to them when she came online. thinking her to be a damaged survivor of whatever had happened on the planet, and concerned both for her well-being and about what the Syndicate would do if they got their hands on a bot with her power, Thrash, Slice and Shred decided to cut ties with their employers and stay on Chixolania to care for the new member of their group. However, the planet was rich in energon, the Transformers' fuel, and its excessive radiation constantly threatened to overload the group's systems. So they modified themselves with biotechnology recovered from the alien ruins, adopting organic-skinned alternate modes that shielded them from the energy. Basing their forms on some of the dinosaurs, they renamed themselves the RAPTORICONS. As they settled in, the team attempted to establish relations with a native tribe of insectoid beings living nearby, the Vespoids. Unfortunately, their translation program couldn't understand the Vespoids' language, and the insects reacted to their presence with hostility, leading to the two groups repeatedly coming into conflict over time. Living on this isolated world, the Raptoricons were unaware of Thunder Mayhem's ravaging of Cybertron until Fractal crash-landed on Chixolania, having fled the Combiner's genocidal rampage. Upon arrival, Fractal was attacked by the Vespoids, and the Raptoricons came to his rescue. The team took Fractal back to their ship, the Velocity, but the Vespoids followed and abducted Nash. While Thrashclaw and Slice pursued them, Fractal and Shred examined a strange green crystal taken from one of the Vespoids during the fight, which Fractal's geochemist skills allowed him to identify as a bioorganic form of energon that served as the insect's food. The Vespoids, Fractal realized, had only ever been hostile towards the Raptoricons because they had unknowingly parked their ship on top of a huge deposit of the crystals that the insects needed to live. Furthermore, the Vespoids had abducted Nash in order to help her. She wasn't a damaged survivor of a disaster, but had actually been experimented on by the long-vanished aliens, who remade her body so that she also ran on this greenergon. Unaware of this, the Raptoricons had only ever been fueling her with regular energon, which had caused her to become unstable. But the Vespoids, able to sense her similarity to them, provided her with greenergon, stabilizing her body and mind. Thanks to Fractal's discovery, the group was able to end hostilities with the Vespoids and enter into peaceful coexistence with them. Fractal subsequently left the planet to join up with a small band of other surviving Transformers, whose adventures in subsequent stories saw them use the power of greenergon to forge themselves into a combiner so they could find and destroy Thunder Mayhem. But the Raptoricons declined an invitation to join them, preferring to stick to their new lives on Chixolania. Aside from a brief mention of Nash in the club's Beast Wars Uprising prose series later in the year, the Raptoricons haven't been heard from since their debut. But, like they say, life finds a way. So perhaps one day we'll see these four clever girls again. And those are the basics on the Raptoricons. Thanks to Matt for sponsoring this episode and for providing a lot of the images and art, including newly commissioned work from Japanese Transformers artist Naoto Tsushima. Let me know what you think of them in the comments, and be sure to like and subscribe for more obscure Transformers history and lore.